And we are back on Fresh Waves. I'm your host, Bren Masson. I'm an expressive arts practitioner, and part of the expressive arts practice is play. And right now we're talking about the power of play. We have Laura Cusack, who's going to be coming in to join us in the station really soon. She's from the Hummingbird Hub, and they're going to be doing some exercises with play and about play in the coming weeks. And the reason for this is because we know from the studies that I was speaking of previously with rats that kids need to play and grown-ups need to play. We're at a time now in the world where the incidences of childhood anxiety and childhood depression are on the rise. So much so that we really have to start taking into account why these things are happening. And part of that, you could extrapolate from the statistics, is that we are lacking in free play. So it's great that joining us in the studio right now is a woman who I know plays very well.
Hi, Bren.
Hi, Laura. How are you?
Excellent.
That's wonderful. I'm so glad that you could come and play with us this morning, because
Well,
that's what we're
playing in
talking
the snow,
about.
so you took us out of playing in the snow.
Hi.
Hello.
How are you?
Well, I'm doing well.
And you can introduce yourself.
My name is Tiernan Cusack.
Uh-huh. And you are?
My mother is Laura Cusack. We're currently currently in the hub. We're trying to do, certain fun activities for
Tiernan is
people.
homeschooled, so he's with me most of the time.
Oh, well, that's good.
So he helps out with all of the hub and a lot of
the activities
kids'
that are going
activities.
on at the hub. And that's a great thing, because that's a great learning experience for him as well, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. You guys are out of breath. I'm sorry I called you in at the last minute, but I thought if there's an opportunity to just have some free time this morning, I'd like to let the listeners know what's going on at the hub and what you guys have in mind for the coming year. We did talk to you before Christmas, and we had quite a nice conversation about all the things that were going on. And I know that you have big plans for the Hummingbird. I mean, I shouldn't, when people hear the Hummingbird, I think of a big theater downtown where people used to go. I don't even know if it's still there. Is it the Hummingbird?
It's not.
Theater?
It's turned into maybe the Sony's.
Yeah, one of those.
North York Center for Performing Arts. I think
Whatever,
is what
but
it is.
it used to be
But
the
yeah,
Hummingbird.
it's not. Yeah, no, and we were looking at our name when we went to incorporate, and it turns out the only other hummingbird one in the area is a bird sanctuary. It's actually preserving hummingbirds.
Which sort of makes sense. Hummingbirds
sure
are
does.
birds, and a bird
Yes.
sanctuary. I mean, that all seems to make perfect sense to
does.
me.
It does.
So what are you guys doing at the Hummingbird, what do you call it, the Hummingbird
The hub.
Hub,
The hub.
in Stouffville?
The Hummingbird Hub in Stouffville. Well, we're a neighborhood house, so there's a lot of activities and events that are for our building our neighborhood, building the community.
Building community within the neighborhood.
Yes,
you go.
exactly. And we have all kinds of things on the go. And part of why I'm out of breath is I've been working to try and get a couple things to come together. We've got planned together for PA Day activities now. So every PA Day we'll be able to do a program for kids. Some of them will be drop-in. Some of them you have to pre-register.
Okay.
Depending on the types of activities. But we've got a sponsor lined up that we're just confirming over the next few days to get a sponsor to be able to run the program so that we can do this at no cost or by donation to kids that want to come. So we'll be doing PA Day things from now on. Every PA Day we'll have something going on at the hub.
And when you talk about PA activities, what kind of activities are we talking about?
So we're talking board games, which might not sound that fun, but when you really get into the board game, it's a lot more fun.
I love board games.
Exactly. It's a fun activity to do.
They're one of my favorite forms of play.
Whether it's simply throwing dice or something like Uno or Monopoly. Once you get into it.
Ticket to Ride's my favorite. Ever played that one?
I have not actually.
Well, you got to check it out. 'Cause
Really?
It's you have a map of North America, so it's got Canada and the US on it, and different train destinations, and you have to collect cards and complete routes. And you get to put trains on the board, kind of like the hotels in Monopoly. Oh, it's so much fun. I love the train game. It's my new favorite thing.
Have you ever heard of Monopoly Deal?
No.
It's sort of like Monopoly, except it's a card game. It goes way quicker. It's much more fun because, it doesn't take 3 days to play.
That was one of my big things with Monopoly and Risk.
Mm-hmm.
2 games that take far too long to play, and I'm so bored halfway through that I quit, and then everybody else starts throwing pieces of the game at you because they're really upset that you've messed up the game by quitting.
Exactly. But with Monopoly Deal, it's a quick card game. It can take...
Does it have a board still?
It doesn't have a board. What it is all the properties and all of the... So you have different properties that you lay on the board. You have
cards.
Different...
Property cards.
They're all cards.
Oh, neat.
And you have a money pile. So if someone plays a card like, and it's my birthday, you have to give them $1.
Uh-huh.
And that dollar goes to them. And what they do is they pick up cards and they have to complete 3 properties in order to win. Now, you can also collect rent on those properties, meaning that you can get money from those properties, meaning the better the property, the more money you can get.
So it is like Monopoly in a card game form.
Yeah.
And
that
quicker.
Sounds great.
It is.
Yes, we've got a lot of games that have been donated that we've got. The hub ends
I've
up...
got some you can have.
The hub ends up with kind of like the rainy day at the cottage kind of feel.
But that's a fantastic thing.
We've got a dartboard now that's installed. We have a 55-inch screen TV as well as a
Do you have
smaller
any boom
one.
whackers?
They're the ones that are the musical instrument ones?
Yeah, it's just basically plastic piping.
Yeah.
You smack them
and
together.
you get different notes? Yes, we do have some of those. And those are so much fun.
boom
I even have a book with the different tunes that you can play.
You can play on your boom whackers.
Yeah.
Okay. You can also teach really great percussion stuff on boom whackers. But that's another discussion.
Yeah.
It's playing with the stuff that
It
you
is.
have.
It's playing. It's getting kids together to play, and we also would like to do some workshops, things that will give kids some tools and skills, and just in a fun way, but things that they can do. I'd love to be able to do. The next PA day, we're looking at bringing in a yoga instructor and a gal who does essential oils for what the oils can do in terms of de-stressing and managing emotions and things like that. We've got somebody coming in that can do makeup workshops for the young ladies on good versus bad and how things work, and gluten-free,
I think we
vegan,
need some
and all
of those for the grown-ups too.
You're probably right. It's a skill that is a good skill to have. So there'll be some workshops and some play. I'd love to be able to do a darts tournament for the kids.
That sounds like a little bit of
Friday
risky
afternoon
play.
Darts tournament.
Risky play?
Very risky play.
Nobody gets to be goalie, right? There's
No.
no goalie.
No.
I know. Turn into a contact sport. Yeah.
Sorry, I was just kidding. I was seeing if you're awake. You're awake, right?
I'm pretty sure. Is this my bed?
No, I'm pretty sure that you're awake because you caught on to that goalie thing pretty fast. Anyway, so real darts, or is it
Real
the
darts.
magnetic darts?
No, they're
Real
real
darts.
darts. They're real darts.
Okay, so you sign a waiver before you start.
Or at least anybody that needs to cross the path of the darts, yeah.
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 I love
No,
darts. Darts is actually one of my favorite games. I'm
some
quite
of the older kids are quite good at it.
and it's people make money playing darts. It's
They
a
do.
bizarre concept, but it's true.
Well, it's really hard.
180.
You know what? Darts is one of these things. It's kind of like golf. It's easy to play, but hard to play really well.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's hand-eye coordination at its finest. And darts, too, if you're playing 501 or 401 or 301 or whatever the heck it is, you can play all different ones. Math skills are key. They do have the boards now that calculate what you have scored, but most don't. And if you're playing darts, it's a math game.
Exactly.
You've got 401, you're starting with 401, and you're taking away all the scores that you get. Maximum score being 180, which is 3 triple 20s, right? Mm-hmm. So you get 3, that's the best score ever. But chances are you're getting the number beside the 20, which is 1, and 120, normal 20, not triple, and maybe a random 13 or something else thrown in there. So now you've got to add 20, 13, and 1. And now you have to take that number away from the 401. There's a lot of math involved in winning a game of darts.
Yeah.
Yeah. And your friends have to keep track, too, because if they see you adding on an extra 20 here and there, you're going to win because your math is wrong. So
But
Friends have to be watching what you're doing too.
An exact reason why to have friends who aren't good at math.
Perhaps. Or ways that you can teach your friends about math. Right? Yeah, that works too.
You gotta learn math or else I'll beat you over and over.
And you know what? Math also comes in really handy when you're cooking. And I always tell my kids that, in that day when you sit down at the table to do fractions, homeschooled, or whether you're at school, and they say, I'll never need to use this. And I say, oh, yes, you will. You want to double that recipe or cut it in half, and you got 3/4 of a cup, you're going to need to know what half of 3/4 of a cup is.
Yeah, at the place that tutors me, I said, I'll never use fractions in real life. I'll just use a calculator. A week later, I had to use fractions to half a recipe for bruschetta.
Oh, do you make bruschetta?
Yeah.
Oh, what do you put in your bruschetta?
I make it out of a cookbook, but one of the main ingredients is 3 cloves of garlic on 6 pieces of bruschetta.
Wow, that's a lot of garlic,
vampires
but I
in our
love garlic. And garlic is so good for you at this time of the year. We were just talking to Dawn Forsyth, who's a nutritionist, and we were talking about the value of some of these herbs and foods that we eat. Garlic is fabulous for colds and flus. So you have 6 cloves of garlic? No,
3.
3. And then tomatoes, I imagine, are one of the ingredients.
Yeah, a bunch of tomatoes.
Onions?
6 diced tomatoes. No onions, surprisingly.
Oh, okay. But parsley?
Yes, parsley. There's also,
Is there cheese in yours?
there is cheese, but it's grated on afterwards, after it's been heated in the broiler.
So you could make a cheese-free one if someone's doing the no dairy thing.
But if you want to have cheese, you grate it on afterwards, and then it melts as you're eating it.
Oh,
that's
good.
Cool.
That's really cool. What kind of bread do you use?
Baguettes.
Yeah. I'm getting hungry.
Yeah. But on the subject of baking and food, one of the other things coming up at the Hub is in mid-February on the 16th, we will be doing a Cupcake Day fundraiser for the USPCA.
Nice.
And it'll be sponsored by the Trento do Torres real estate team.
They're a sponsor of the radio station as well.
They are. Yeah. They will be sponsoring the OSPCA to do the Cupcake Day. It'll coincide with the Winterfest activities. So if people are out at Winterfest and getting cold, they're welcome to come on in and talk to SPCA and flip through the books and see what animals are up for adoption. And we're hoping to get some service animals in.
They're very cute.
I don't look at the book. Because I just...
You just walk and look at each animal and you adopt them all.
I want to adopt every single one of them. I just have such a soft spot for them. So
yeah, we've adopted a few.
I know how you can solve that addiction.
Uh-huh.
Volunteer at the OSPCA.
That's a great idea. They always need volunteers, don't they?
They always need volunteers, and you get to hang out with all the animals.
Yeah, that sounds like a great idea. Puppies, puppies, puppies. I love puppies.
Puppies, cats, guinea pigs. They have practically every animal in there.
Yeah, I'm
pretty sure they actually once had a ferret.
Oh, they've had many ferrets, because ferrets are good pets. My daughter has 2 ferrets. Yes, they did have goats. I thought that was the funniest thing.
Goats are funny.
But someone had lost their goat, and a person found it and gave it to the SPCA. So the SPCA sent us a message and asked if we could ask whoever it was in Stouffville who lost their goat to come and get it.
And you found the owner, I hope?
Yes, we did.
How do you lose a goat? I get how you lose a hamster in a big house, but how do you lose a goat?
I think it was outside, and probably goats are very creative, and it probably got out of its fencing and just went for a walk. Actually, I have a friend whose horses got out in Cannington several years ago and went for a walk down Main Street, which was...
Thinking of that, it makes you think of Madagascar.
The movie?
Where the zebra's walking down the street.
Yes. More forms of play. Do you know that watching movies can be a form of play, especially if you're interactive with the movie and you're really enjoying yourself while you're watching it, because that's our theme.
Because there are those like interactive movies where they move you around in your chair, and there are those new Netflix interactive movies where you can look around, you can sometimes even change how the movie plays out by choosing a couple things.
Yeah, I've heard about that. Black Mirror actually has an episode where you can do that. Have you done that, Jay?
I have, yeah. The movie Bandersnatch.
Okay.
Yeah, that's one
Black
of the big
Mirror.
movies on there
They
right
have
now.
Minecraft Story Mode. They have a whole bunch of different. They have games. They have interactive films. They have interactive TV shows.
Yeah. Kind of neat, huh?
There's so many cool things.
Our world is changing so quickly.
It is. I'd stick with a puppy, but
Yeah, I'm still really good with the puppy. Puppies are my thing, yeah.
But I mean, honestly, the world is changing so fast that a lot of people aren't changing at all.
You think so?
Well, exactly. You see, once the world gained the power of internet, after that, about 90% of people stopped making new things.
Yeah, or they make new things specifically for the internet. It's funny how your generation, how old are you?
I am 13.
13. Your generation knows the internet in a way that my generation never will. We don't understand it the way you do. We don't have a trust in it the way you do. I sit with my computer. I was like, I don't want to put it. Push the button, Mom. I don't want to put it. Push the button. Just push the button. You know.
that's because we went through that era where you push the wrong button, you delete everything.
Oh yeah. And
They don't have
yes,
that.
yes.
They have an escape.
Yeah, they have a route now around that. But that's what's called innovation, right? And it's innovation because they were free enough to play with it.
Yeah.
And but you guys are at an advantage. But I can tell you
Well,
that
we're
when
not
you get
exactly-
when you get to be my age, things are going to be different for you too. The new stuff will blow you away and you'll be going, how do I make that work? Things that we can't even imagine. Because when I was your age, we didn't have cell phones. We didn't have, a telex machine was when I was your age. And I thought that was just fantastic, that you could type something into a machine and it would be typing out on the other end in Hong Kong. And to me, that was magic, nothing short of magic. And now you guys get to communicate with each other. I watch my son play his video games and he's playing with other kids and he's got the headphones on and he's talking to them as if they're in the room with him,
They're
but
all
they're
around the world.
miles away.
Yeah, they're around the world.
It's crazy. He's playing a video game with his friend who lives in Kelowna, BC. They're playing the same video game at the same
amazing.
time. It's amazing.
Exactly. And other incredible things have happened with phone technology. Being able to, going from landlines to having phones as big as bricks, to having phones that at their biggest are the size of our palm.
Right?
And now we're going back up to the size of bricks again.
It's crazy, isn't it?
We've gone from the phones that are the size and weight of bricks
Yes.
to the phones that are the size of bricks.
Yeah, well, I can't believe the size of some of the phones. Whose pocket's big enough to hold that thing? But you know, you can watch
Some
a feature.
phones are bigger
you can
than
watch a feature
iPads.
film on those phones, and
You can do everything on those. It's kind of
they're a
scary
mini
what you can do.
computer in your pocket. And now the watches. Okay,
Yeah, everything.
this for
Yeah,
you
smart watches.
is normal, but for me, it blew me away at Christmas time. We went to take a family photo, and we were quite prepared to put the phone or the camera on a stand, push the automatic button, run like crazy, sit down with everybody. In 10 seconds later, it goes click, and then you run back and grab your... Nope, not this year, because my niece got a smartwatch for Christmas.
So basically just whoop, whoop, selfie.
No, she had her phone on the stand, and there wasn't any timing. We all just sat down at our leisure, and she could work her phone from
her watch?
watch and take the pictures. Without
Phones-
having to
Can
run
she
back
see
and sit
the
in.
picture, what the camera's seeing too, so she can say if
Oh
something
yeah,
needs to
everything.
move? Or...
Yeah, it was incredible. To me, that is magic. It
But
doesn't
yeah,
make
today
any
in
sense.
phone settings, and there's some phones have the app, but you can click on that setting or app, and you can connect to your smartwatch. Meaning that you can practically control your phone from your smartwatch.
Okay.
But that makes you think, if someone stole your smartwatch, what would happen with your phone?
Yeah, there's all kinds of ramifications, isn't there? Mm-hmm. I think that I have a new business for you to get into. I think you should get a couple of friends and together make like a paw patrol, but a phone patrol. And do a phone patrol for seniors and people over the age of 45. And teach them how to use their cell phones, teach them what their cell phones are capable of doing, and go over to the 55 Plus Club and have a little workshop over there. Because there's a lot of people who don't have kids your age around, who need to have kids your age around, because you guys know how to work all of this equipment. But even that, if you do it for them, they'll never learn. So
Yeah,
you
it's
have
the
to
teach a
help
man
them
to
do it.
fish.
Yeah,
And
exactly, exactly. It's a big difference, right? You got to teach a person to use their phone, not do it for them. Mm-hmm. I think you'd be great at that. What do you
we
think?
could probably do a couple of those at the Hummingbird Hub.
You are a bright cookie. Yes, you could. You talk to that Pat Ogston the next time you see her. You say, Pat, do I have an idea for you? She may leave and run away, but she may be very interested.
But yes, with technology, everybody needs a resident 13-year-old.
Absolutely. You need to have one in the house or down the street.
Yep.
Don't be afraid to ask them, because they will know. If you're having a computer problem, they know how to fix it.
They do.
They do. So you have a PA Day event. You have a 16th of February event. Are you having a Valentine's Day thing?
Yeah, we've been talking about maybe doing a pop-up market for Valentine's on the 9th.
Oh, nice.
So we're just in the works of trying to coordinate something to see who's out there who would be interested in participating in doing a pop-up market
Okay.
for that.
All right. That sounds like fun. So just vendors and selling different things and...
Yes. Okay. And other than that, we have our regular ongoing things. We're adding every Tuesday evening now. We're looking at getting a program in place for mental health support. So if anybody needs a safe place to come and ask questions or find support or find information or a direction, Tuesday evenings at the Hub is a good place to start. There'll be somebody there that can help. We're adding mindfulness on Friday mornings, and we've got yoga classes on Wednesday and Thursday evenings. Wednesday is for men and Thursday is for women. But men can come to the women, but women can't go to the men. It's just for men. It's special.
Why?
The men's is basically beer and yoga. You do yoga and you get a beer token for the pub across the street.
Yeah, they'll go across. They're an interesting group, but we kind of leave the men. It's for men who don't do yoga, and so a little bit self-conscious. So they're good with each other. They're welcome if they miss the Wednesday. They're welcome to come to the Thursday, and one or two have.
So it's Wednesday nights.
Wednesday nights at 7 is a yoga for men who don't do yoga.
Is there drop-in?
Yes.
Or do you have to sign up months in advance?
You can drop in, but the class is getting pretty full. We may have to start breaking it up and doing 2 classes. Because that one is fairly popular.
And who teaches it?
Adrienne Thompson.
Okay.
She is here from Langley, BC, and she has a lot of training in doing yoga in non-yoga settings. She's not a big fan of yoga studios, so she does programs outside, which is why she likes the Hub, because we can do different kinds of things. She will be running a program for kids on a PA Day on the 1st. She's looking at starting up on Saturdays starting in February. She will do a family yoga class on Saturday mornings. So non-traditional things that don't really exist anywhere else is kind of her. She has experience working in hospices and prisons and different kinds of settings. So, yeah.
Oh, she should come and be a guest on this show.
You know
We
what?
always like people with neat stories.
She's got some pretty cool stories. Yeah.
She's pretty amazing.
Oh, great. And you like her too. Good.
Well, I do. She's good.
Yeah. Have you ever thought of having your own radio show? You've got a great voice for radio.
Well, thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
Well, believe it or not, you're not the first person who's on a radio show that's told me that.
Okay. So maybe it's the universe telling you that you have a calling.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
There have
Well,
been
this is a
people
community
from...
radio station, you know, so we do have the opportunity for you to have a show here and to volunteer.
Really?
Yes, you could have your own show. We used to have a show called The Howl Hour, which was the Whitchurch Highlands Public Schools radio show, and it was grade 4s, and they were doing their own radio show. They had knock-knock jokes and stories, and they interviewed each other. It was absolutely brilliant.
If you like knock-knock jokes, I can blow your mind.
yes.
Okay, see, so save them for your radio show and feature
I
a
suspect
knock-knock
you may have to vet the subject matter.
yeah, but that's okay. That's okay. We do a lot of that here. But you know what? It's interesting for kids, too, because maybe we'll offer a little bit of community radio programming through the Hub, because you can learn not only about broadcasting and how to talk into your microphone and things like that, but you learn writing for radio and television. You learn reporting for radio and television. You learn how to present yourself. You learn how to work the equipment so you can set up a microphone and set up a small board, and how to work with the software that now runs the radio stations, because people don't do it anymore. It's done by computer. Mm-hmm. So it's a really cool learning opportunity, and that's one of the focus points of community radio stations, is the learning that can go on within the community.
It's pretty awesome.
Mm-hmm. It is. We are very lucky here in Stouffville to have a community radio station. And many of our students who have done high school co-ops here, because every minute you spend in the studio, it goes towards your community service hours in high school. And we've had a lot of them go on and do radio and television broadcasting at Ryerson and other places where their time here at Whistle has really helped them get into the program that they wanted to get into, because these programs are really competitive.
That's actually pretty interesting.
Mm-hmm. Good food for thought, isn't it? Mm-hmm. Yes, there you go.
Well, and for some people, playing with all these dials really is play.
Yes, it is. Mm-hmm. For me, it's a
fun.
Nightmare. Yes, for me, it's a nightmare.
But it's fun for you, isn't it, Jason?
Oh, Jason loves doing it.
I enjoy this, yeah.
Jason loves working the board.
Which is kind of a thing that... No, it's kind of important to learn how to do it. Because a lot of things people think is, I hate this. A lot of times in school is like, I hate math. It's horrible. And I'm horrible at it. When it's not really that they hate it. It's more that they're not being properly taught how to do it. So they're developing a resentment to it because... they're not getting the proper education they need to do it.
Right. Hey, you got to come on and be my guest one day. Like when you've got more than 2 minutes, because we're running out of time now.
All right.
So we are running out of our day. Wrapping it up, how do people get a hold of you at the Hummingbird Hub to find out what's going on over there?
They can pop by anytime the sign is lit. They're welcome to come in.
And you're on Main Street right by the clock tower kind of thing.
Yes, right across from the meat merchant.
Tipsy
Cow. The meat merchant or Tipsy Cow,
Okay.
yeah. And we do have a Facebook page,
Okay.
Hummingbird Hub Facebook page, and there is a website at hummingbirdhub.org.
Perfect. Thank you very much for coming in. And I know
Well,
you guys were there,
invite.
and I said, hey, if you're sending me a text message and you're in town, come on over. So it was really nice of you to come over. That's the beauty of live radio and community radio. Mm-hmm. We can have a spontaneous guest. Our guest that was supposed to be coming on, her son got sick, and there's a lot of that going around right now, so she wasn't able to come today. Anyway, thank you for participating.
Well, thank you very much.
You've been listening to Fresh Waves here on Whistle FM. I'm your host, Bren Masson. Tune in every Wednesday morning at 10 for wonderful guests, great conversation, and I don't know, you might learn a thing or two. That's Fresh Waves here at Whistle FM. Bye, Jason. Thanks for all your help today.
My pleasure.
Go out into the world and be kind to someone. That's my motto of the day. You've been listening to Fresh Waves, a Whistle FM production. I'm your host, Brenda Masson, and our technical producer is Jason Rumball. Tune in every Wednesday at 10 a.m. for Fresh Waves here on Whistle FM, 102.9 on the FM dial and whistlefm.com anywhere in the world. Fresh Waves is available on podcast too. Just go to whistlefm.ca or freshwaves.ca. We podcast all of the Fresh Waves shows so that you can listen at your leisure. Fresh Waves. It really is fresh.